Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone.
Welcome back to another video. Today, me as Hazrat Qisya
And me as Sri Dewi Saraswati
will talk about its banning a single-use plastic is a good policy and explain why we are against the argument.
We all know that banning single-use plastic is something that's supposed to be a good thing, right? Making sure that the environment is plastic-free. But that's not entirely something good. Although yes, we understand that and are deeply concerned about our environment, it's still not the best nor the most realistic solution.
It can create more harm than good, especially in critical sectors like healthcare, social environment, economics, and the practical consequence of such a ban. Hence why we should not always be guided by emotions or good intention. We should focus more on the impact of our surrounding.
So let's just begin with what we're really talking about, the definition of single-use plastic. Single-use plastic is a disposable item that are typically used once before it gets thrown away, basically in our everyday life now. These types of plastic include plastic bags, plastic drinking straws, plastic cups, packaging films, utensils, and food wrappers.
They are lightweight, easy to carry around, cheap to produce, and often more hygienic than reusable alternatives. This is the reason they are heavily used in packaging, hospital, and others.
Banning them completely may sound like a step forward towards environmental progress, but the reality is far more complex.
Now let's start with the first point, the impact on the economy side of this policy. Banning single-use plastic can affect small businesses and those from lower income background. Plastic is cheap and affordable, and banning it can lead vendors to raise their prices, causing customers to stop buying from them.
Now, just imagine a food seller in a night market on the side of the road. Their profit margin is already low. Replacing plastic packaging with paper or something compostable alternative can increase costs by 3 to 5 times. Who will cover that cost? The seller? The consumer? Will we force people to pay more for everyday items because we didn't plan a better solution?
In some countries like Indonesia, India, or the Philippines, this is not just a theory anymore. It's already happening in many places where bans have been rushed into action. Sellers have to either break the rules or close down. This isn't a sign of good policy, but it's a sign of poor preparation.
We cannot expect sustainable changes if that change leaves the people behind. Next, let's talk about something more important, the big impact on the role of healthcare and hygiene. Single-use plastics are essential in the medical field because they maintain hygiene and prevent contamination, such as in syringe, IV tubes, and blood bags. They play a critical role for the sick. That is why they must be sterilized and disposable. Now, just imagine they get banned for the sake of environmental idealism. Reusable alternatives simply cannot match the hygiene standards required in modern facilities.
Reusable alternative may not be able to be sterilized properly, especially in places with a limited facility, such as a clinic. A blanket ban on plastic would risk disrupting medical supply chains. Just imagine a rural clinic without access to sterile syringe or safe disposal options.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, demand for plastic-based personal protective equipment or PPE has surged. Banning single-use plastics without viable alternative could lead to a major crisis. Why? Because single-use items protect lives.
The third and probably the most important point in the misplaced focus, because the problem is waste management, not the plastic itself. The core problem is not plastic, it's what we do after we use it. In other words, the real issue is poor waste management.
Now let's just compare two examples. First is Germany and also Indonesia. Germany recycles over 60% of its plastic waste. It has strict systems for collection, separation, and reuse. Meanwhile, Indonesia, despite banning plastic in some regions, still sees plastic waste flooding in rivers and oceans. Why? Because we don't have proper waste collection and recycling infrastructure. So what's more effective, banning plastic or building systems to handle it better?
We argue the latter because if we simply ban plastic but still throw trash in rivers or ocean, the problem hasn't gone away. It just changed the shape. Instead of plastic waste, we'll have paper waste, metal waste, food contamination, especially if these materials are not recyclable either.
And lastly, alternatives aren't always better. Many people think and assume that switching to an alternative like paper, cloth, bamboo, or bioplastics is automatically more eco-friendly. But in reality, it's far from that. So let's be realistic here.
Paper bags require more water and energy to produce. They also emit more greenhouse gases during production and transport.
Biodegradable plastic is still need industrial combustion condition, which most countries don't have. If people don't reuse them or if they discard them quickly, the environmental impact might worsen.
It's like trying to fix a leak pipe with expensive wallpaper. It's looking good, but the problem remains.
So, in our opinion, making such a decision with haste won't make banning single-use plastic a good thing. We're not saying that we should ignore plastic pollution. No, but because we believe that banning single-use plastics is something so simple that it can respond to a bigger problem.
The ban of single-use plastic is not just about reducing pollution or being more environmental friendly. In fact, it's not that simple. There are many other things to consider, such as medical needs, MSMEs, small traders, and others. So before imposing a ban, the government should first provide real solution. For example, more affordable, environmental friendly plastic, and so on. Don't just impose a ban without any preparation at all.
So, in conclusion, while the intention behind banning single-use plastics may be good, the execution of such policy often causes more harm than good. It threatens small businesses, damaging healthcare safety, and overlooking the real problem of waste mismanagement.
Has not been driven by headlines or half solution. Let us instead craft policies that are thoughtful, inclusive, and forward-thinking. Ones that uplift people, protect lives, and truly safeguard the environment.
Okay, maybe that's all from us and from our argument of why we're against banning single-use plastic is a good policy. We're sorry if there's any mistakes in our video or in our words. And the last we say, Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.